everybody, welcome back to Mixing Music Analog and mixingmusicanalog.com, and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we're going to listen to another piece of gear. We're going to take a listen to the Trident 80B 500 series EQ modules. Say that 3 times fast. We have a pair of those in the rack. I'm sure an image will be on the screen if it's not already. We're going to listen to it on a drum bus. We're going to listen to it on some electric guitars. Maybe we'll listen to it on some piano or maybe some vocals. We'll see, but we're going to listen to it on a few different sources. So before we get started, if you like what you see in the video, make sure you subscribe. And by the way, my YouTube analytics is continuously telling me that roughly 65 to 70% of the people that watch these videos on this channel are not subscribed to Uncle Dave and Mixing Music Analog, which is mind-boggling. So please, if you're one of those 65 or 70% and you're not subscribed, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It helps me out tremendously. I can't even begin to tell you. Thank you so much in advance for doing so. Also, be sure to check out my hybrid mixing courses. There are 2 of them now. Mixing Hybrid Pop, Mixing Hybrid Acoustic Rock. Links will be down in the description box below if you want to mix an entire song with me from start to finish in real time, and you get all the multi-track files and so much more. Best mixing course you're ever going to take, even if you don't have a single piece of hardware. Go check the link in the description box below and you'll know exactly what I mean. Okay, before we get started, this is not a sponsored video. I bought these Trident EQs from my good buddies over at Sweetwater and I paid full price for them. So you don't have to worry. Uncle Dave's always going to tell you how they sound. They sound great. Now, before we walk through the controls, simple EQ to use, and we listen to it, I have not that I wasn't a fan of Trident. I know about Trident. I've heard of Trident, but I've never used any of their stuff. But my good friend and buddy over in Los Angeles, California, owns a studio called Ultimate Studios, Inc. My buddy Charlie, he is a huge Trident fanboy, has a Trident console, has a lot of Trident gear, as well as some other stuff. And when I was looking for something a little different, and I asked Charlie, hey Charlie, what do you think? I got SSL. I got some API. He says, you ever check out the Tridents? Check out the Tridents. They sound really good on a lot of different things. It's a nice middle ground between API and SSL. It kind of sits somewhere in the middle tonally. And I checked them out and I got to say, thanks, Charlie. So make sure you go check out Charlie over at Ultimate Studios, Inc. He's got a great YouTube channel as well. And he's the real deal. He's not just schlepping you gear. He knows what he's talking about. So thank you, Charlie at Ultimate Studios, Inc. for turning me on to the Tridents. I dig Charlie a lot. So go check them out. Links will be below. So let's talk about the Trident EQ. It's real simple. We have some controls on it. I got a picture of it right here in front of me. At the top here, we have our high frequencies. We have a little push button there. It's either an 8K shelf or a 12K shelf. Pretty standard. Underneath that, we have our high mids. Our high mids go from 1K to 15K, plus or minus 15 dB. We have our low mids. And our low mids go from 100 hertz to 1.5K, again, plus or minus 15 dB. We have a high pass filter at 50 hertz, if we want to use that, little push button. Then we also have our low frequencies, just like the high frequencies. It's a shelf. We go for either 60 hertz or 120, plus or minus 15 dB. And then underneath that, we have our EQ in, EQ out, so we could bypass the EQ. That's it. Simple, but it sounds really great. Like I said, it sits between the SSL and the API kind of flavor. So let's listen to this on some drum bus. We're going to go over to the rack. I'm going to twist a few knobs. We're going to listen to it on some drums. This song and the material you're going to hear today, at least parts of it, come from a great band, Laini The Wildfire. Check their links in the description box below. Thank you to Laini The Wildfire for allowing us to use their song Dime, at least parts of it, for this demonstration. I appreciate it. Check the links in the description box below. Let's go over to the rack, let's twist some knobs, and let's see how this sounds on a drum bus. Here we go. So I love it on drum bus. That was the first place that I put them when I first got these in the studio, because Charlie says, you know, put them on drums. I think you're really going to dig it. Up to that point, I was using the API 5500 EQ on my drum bus, which sounds fantastic, by the way. But if you want something a little less aggressive than the API is super aggressive for like rock and hard rock. It's great. But for more maybe Americana, maybe a little bit more laid back drums, the Trident seems to fit the bill a little bit better for me, in my opinion. So you could be pretty aggressive at the 60 hertz range like you saw there, and it doesn't get flubby, it doesn't get farty or anything like that on the low end. Unlike the SSL EQ on the console, you boost up 6.8 dB at 60 hertz and it farts out pretty quick, which I hate. It's one of the things I don't like about the SSL EQ. The low end can get flubby, especially with things like kick drums and bass guitars. But on the Tridents, they just sound perfect, and they don't sound brittle either. Top end on those drums, they sound nice and smooth. I also feel like you normally would cut out around that 400 hertz range on drums because they could tend to be a little bit boxy. But somehow the Trident, when I even leave it flat in those low mids, it just sounds good. Just sounds good. I love it on drums. So really, really great. If you're looking for a pair of EQs for your drum bus, I think they're $450 or $500 a piece. Fantastic. As opposed to something like the API 5500, which is about over $3,000. So anyway, that's drums. Give me a second to repatch it. I'll come right back. Let's now put it on, say, some electric guitars, some distorted electric guitars. Let's see how maybe we can get those electric guitars to cut a little bit more and see how it sounds, and see how the Trident will do there. So I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, we're back. So we got it patched into an electric guitar bus. These are slightly overdriven guitars. We have a pair of them coming down to a bus. We got the Trident on those. Let's see, and let's just make sure here that these also don't have any other EQ on them from the board. So these are just the raw guitars going to the Trident's 80Bs. Let's check it out. So there you go, not only in solo, but in the context with the mix. A sign of a great EQ to me, and this is where sometimes hardware really kind of beats out lots of great plugins, is that when you boost the top end, that 5K, 8K, 12K, you could really boost it on hardware. And these, you can get a nice boost on this stuff. and it doesn't sound brittle. It doesn't hurt your ears. It sounds still, it cuts, but it's not piercing, which I really like. Also too, at 120 hertz, I was boosting up a little bit, and it gives a nice little fat warmness to those electric guitars. So these are really great on electric guitars too. Again, you can be pretty aggressive with it, but you don't need a lot to get things to cut through the mix. So that's electric guitars. Give me one more second. The magic of TV, I will plug in, let's say, let's try some grand piano. Let's see what a nice, beautiful grand piano sounds like with the Trident 80Bs. Be right back. Okay, we're back. So now we have this patched into our grand piano bus. So let's go over there, twist some knobs, see how it sounds. Then I'll bring in the drum, bass, and guitars so you can kind of hear it in the context of the mix. Once again, make sure you check out Laini and The Wildfire. Links are in the description box below as we're picking apart this track and you're listening to their great performances. Here we go. Here's the grand piano on the Trident 80Bs. So there you go on grand piano. So again, you can really boost up the top end quite a bit. It never sounds brittle. Just got a nice open bell-like sound to it. I really, really like this. Again, when you're picking out hardware and you're picking out your different flavors. Again, I'm so happy that my friend turned me on to these because again, they sound so different than an SSL EQ and so different from an API EQ. I really, really like them. And at the price point, hell, I'm probably going to buy 2 more of them. I'd love to have 2 pairs of those Tridents. So that is the Trident 80B. Check them out. Again, this is not a sponsored video. My affiliate links for Sweetwater will be in the description box. If you want to pick them up there for 500 bucks, they're a winner and they sound great on just about anything you put them on. So check out the Trident 80Bs. Now, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. As I said at the beginning, make sure you check out Laini and The Wildfire. Thank you so much, guys. Links will be in the description box below. Also, 2 hybrid mixing courses, mixing hybrid pop, mixing hybrid acoustic rock. If you want to mix a song with me, Uncle Dave, from start to finish in real time, where you get all the multi-track files, and we walk through every single aspect of from the mix, from the time we set up the session in the DAW, through every single EQ move, every single compressor and piece of hardware choice, reference tracks, the whole kit and caboodle. You get to see how we really mix a real client project. They're over 5 hours long, each one of those courses. Click the link in the description box below. There's a little video telling you all about it. And by the way, even if you don't have any hardware, no console, no hardware, and you're just using plugins, I spend a lot of time in each one of those courses showing you how you can emulate the analog workflow with the plugins that you have in your DAW. So you don't have to have hardware to learn a ton of mixing concepts and techniques from these courses. So check out Hybrid Mixing below. Thank you so much again for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe, and until the next video, I've been Dave with Mixing Music Analog and mixingmusicanalog.com. Thank you so very much for watching me today, everybody, and I'll see you guys soon.